happening, guys? My name is Jamie. Today we are finally doing the Elvis Presley studio album ranking. You know what? Elvis Presley has released 23 albums, 23 studio albums, so many other soundtrack albums as well. He's released like fucking 30 EPs. There's so much that we're not even going to cover this episode. So this is going to be a two-part series where we will be ranking his studio albums and then we will be ranking his soundtrack albums as well. And you know what? I'm pretty excited to begin this adventure because Elvis Presley is my favorite solo artist of all fucking time. This man got me into music. He got me into rock and then he eventually got me into metal. Yeah, Elvis Presley was a gateway to metal for me. You gotta admit, without Elvis, there would be a lot of stuff that wouldn't be present nowadays for music. You gotta appreciate the king of rock and roll. And he did fucking everything. He did everything from pop, from gospel to rock. So first of all, there are 23 albums that need to be ranked from the weakest to the best album in my opinion. So the weakest album in my opinion is Elvis's Christmas album. This album is an okay album. His vocals are very good, very dynamic in range. I just love the overall production of this album, and I gotta say there is not one bad Elvis Presley album, to be honest. Not one bad Elvis Presley album. Fucking love all of them. And there are some really good songs like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but there are also filler songs as well. This is a Christmas album, and you damn well know that all of his Christmas albums are going to be dead last. Next up is Elvis Sings the Wonderful World of Christmas. Good album, it is. It's pretty good. I wouldn't want to put it on during Halloween or other than Christmas, to be honest. His voice is very soothing on this. It's overall a pretty good album. I just love the overall structure. It's quite a short LP, but it also packs a punch because there are some rock and roll elements on this album. But this was his later Christmas album, I think back in the 70s. So you can tell there are some really strong bluesy vibes on this album. Coming up next is Something for Everybody. Yeah, this album is a pretty good album in my opinion, although this is one of his weakest. The reason why it's one of his weakest is because I just feel that none of these songs really grabbed me. Apart from There's Always Me, of course, his beautiful operatic vocals throughout that song. Give me It's a Sin, Sentimental Me. So there are some really good songs. I Slipped, I Stumbled, I Fell is a pretty good song as well. But overall, basically a pop album by Elvis. And there's really nothing much I can say about this album, to be honest, just because it just feels like a generic pop album. Yeah, Everything for Somebody is definitely one of his weakest. Next one is Potluck. Yeah, this is a very good album. I really do enjoy it, although there are some really filler songs on this album. Of course, you got that famous Suspicion Torments My Heart. You got Suspicion along with Kiss Me Quick. But that's all the good songs on this album, to be honest, apart from Found on the Love, which this album is a little bit of a hit and miss for Elvis. It is another sort of poppy album by this man, and there are some really slow ballads on this. There are some faster moments. Next up is Elvis For Everyone. Now, this features one of my favorite songs of all time by him, and it's Memphis, Tennessee, and I fucking adore this song, and this is the only time I come back to this album, to be honest, is to listen to Memphis, Tennessee. Long Distance Information. Yeah, it's such a good song, Memphis, Tennessee. But the rest of this album has sort of a bluesy vibe, and I do enjoy this LP, although there are just some filler songs as well. And it's a very short, it's a short record, it's running about 25 minutes. The only songs I go back is Memphis, Tennessee, Tomorrow Night, and Summer Kisses, Winter Tears. That's all. The rest of the songs is normal, in my opinion. They're not bad, they're not good, they're just average. And Potluck is a disappointing album, in my opinion. There are some solid moments, like For the Millionth and The Last Time, which has a nice guitar-driven chorus. So overall, this is another weak album by Elvis. Next up is his second last album from Elvis Presley, Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee. This is a good album. This is mainly packed with ballads. There's a lot of ballads on this album. There are some strong symphonic elements, and I just love the choir that is present on this album. Hurt, of course, is one of the best songs by Elvis. Blue Eyes Crying the Rain, which is a pretty good song, and The Last Farewell. But then you got average songs by Elvis, and it doesn't, and some of these songs don't really gravitate towards you. Surely this is a really good album to put on in the background, but nothing really makes you fucking move on this album, to be honest. And that's why it's sitting quite low. Next up is Raised on Rock. This was released, this is again one of his later albums. Holy shit, this packs a punch, it really does. Raised on Rock is a fantastic song. I really love the nice bluesy vibes on this album. Not to mention there are some country elements as well. You got For Old Time's Sake, you got a beautiful ballad song, Sweet Angeline, but of course there are some ballady moments on this album, but not as much as the other albums I have mentioned. And it's not as poppy, it's more of a rock-based album, and I just love the guitar moments. Yeah, this album packs a punch, and Elvis's vocals sound fantastic on this. Really nice and dynamic range. Really love his beautiful quiver in his voice that just makes your heart melt. Yeah, this is a really good album by this man. Alright, so coming up next is a album that I wanted to put a little bit higher, but I couldn't just because I have the deluxe edition of this album, and the original album only had 10 songs, and the deluxe edition has 16 songs. And these 6 songs are all my favorite songs by Elvis. It's unfortunate that I can't actually include it because they're in the deluxe edition. We had Separate Ways, For the Good Times, Burning Love, Always on My Mind, It's a Matter of Time, and American Trilogy on this album, the deluxe edition. But unfortunately, they weren't included in the original. So it's Elvis the full album. This is a good album by Elvis. It really is. It does pack a punch. I absolutely adore this. The Fool's an amazing song. Where Do I Go From Here? It's Still Here. And of course, It's Impossible. It's impossible. You know, Impossible, it's an amazing song. But then there are, of course, some mediocre songs, to be honest, like I Will Be True. I do enjoy Padre. Padre is a fantastic song. And then you got Don't Think Twice, It's Alright, which is a average song to end off the album. But I got the deluxe edition. I wanted to put this album a little bit higher. This album would have been in my top 5 if Separate Ways, For the Good Times, Burning Love, Always on My Mind was actually on the original album, but I just couldn't put it on. I don't add any deluxe songs on the rankings, so that's where Elvis the full album is going. Next up is Elvis Now, a very good album by Elvis. Really do enjoy it. Help Me Make It Through the Night featuring Imperial Quartet is a fantastic song. You got the Elvis cover, you got the Beatles cover, Hey Jude. I don't like this song by Elvis. I do not like this song by Elvis. This is the only song I don't like by Elvis just because I feel that Beatles do it so much better. I love Put Your Hand in the Hand Until It's Time for You to Go. That beautiful, beautiful song with the beautiful piano melody and the beautiful violins with the beautiful choir in the background. Fantastic. His vocals are really good on this album. They really are. Luke uses a lot of vibrato in his vocals on this. Got It's Only Love, Sylvia. So a lot of classics on this album. This album was released in 1972, so one of his latest albums as well. Next up is Love Letters from Elvis. Now, believe it or not, I really enjoy his love songs. I really do. The beautiful soft melody or some of these songs like Love Letters, the beautiful piano. There's a lot on this album that I fucking love. Heart of Rome, Only Believe. And then you got Rags to Riches to end off the album. Yeah, this is a really awesome album by Elvis. I love it. It's a very slow album by Elvis, but the lyrics are so damn strong on this, and his vocals are just from an angel. They really are. And guitar, there's a lot of emotion conveyed within his vocals, but there are still some uplifting songs as well on this album, but there are a lot of just slow songs. And this is all the albums that I'm starting to really fucking love and really hard to fucking rank now. Next up is His Hand in Mine. This is a fantastic album, it really is. This is when Elvis started to get into Jesus and he started to sing gospel. Now this is a gospel album, but wow, this gospel album is one of the best gospel albums of all fucking time. Absolutely love it. His Hand in Mine is a great song. In My Father's House, If We Never Meet Again, Just so many good melodic songs on this album. Quite melodic, quite catchy songs. Really love Elvis's vocals on this album. And there are a lot of bluesy vibes. It's not just slow ballady songs. There are some rock elements. Since this was released in 1960 as well, so this is one of his earlier albums, but His Hand in Mine is a really awesome album that I really love, that I can always put on and listen to it and just have a really good time with it. Next up is Promised Land. I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California, home of mine. Oh yes, Promised Land is an absolutely fantastic album. I really did enjoy it. I revisited this album again and I thought, yeah, this is a fantastic album. This is one of my weakest, but it has grown so much and it's absolutely fantastic. Promised Land is one of the most awesome songs by Elvis. I love how heavy it is back in the day. There's an awesome guitar solo as well on this particular song. There's a Honky Tonk Angel, which is a lot slower song. There are some ballady moments on this album, but of course it also packs a punch. Love Song of the Year is a great song as well. Your Love's Been a Long Time Coming. So really upbeat songs on this LP. But of course there are some fillers. This album stretches around about 30 minutes as well, so this album has to punch hard, and Promised Land definitely punches you hard. It punches you right in the fucking face once Promised Land, the actual song, kicks in. Okay, so next up is his last and final album, Moody Blue, which was released in 1977. This is when Elvis was at his downfall, and he released an album very close to his death. It's Moody Blue, and this album is fantastic. It really is. You got the song way down where it feels so good. Way Down, along with Unchained Melody, that beautiful song Unchained Melody. His vocals were amazing on this song. He incorporates operatic vocals on this, and you can tell there is so much emotion. If You Love Me, Let Me Know, really awesome song. Little Darling is a really good song as well. She Thinks I Still Care. And finally, It's Easy For You, which is the final song off the album and the final song from a studio album by Elvis. Very sad. It's a sad album to listen to because you know it's his final studio album. Okay, so next up is Elvis Country. This is a really awesome album. It really is. It's a country album, but of course Elvis mixes blues, pop, and rock. And he mixes it all together, and it's such a fun time. You got the song Snowbird, Tomorrow Never Comes, Little Cabin on the Hill, but throughout the end of every single song, there's another song that keeps continuing throughout the album. So basically, you're also listening to two songs within one song, which is such an awesome concept. I just love that sort of concept where you listen to a song and then you listen to a start of a song, and then the next song starts, and then you listen to the other part of the next song. There Goes My Everything is on this album, which is an absolutely fantastic song. There's a lot of orchestral moments. You wouldn't think there's a lot of orchestral moments in a country album, but there is. This is Elvis amalgamating all his sounds within one album, and this is why I love it. This is one of my favorite albums by him. It's only at number 10. Next up is He Touched Me. This was released in 1972, and again, it is a gospel album. And again, I think he released 3 gospel studio albums, and yeah, this is one of his best. He Touched Me is a fantastic song. Love how Elvis incorporates his operatic vocals on this album. This is a much more slower album, you could say, but it packs a lot of emotion. Lead Me, Guide Me, Reach Out to Jesus, I John, There Is No God But God, An Evening Prayer, which is a really short interlude, which is about 2 minutes, but god damn it, it's one of the best songs off the album in my opinion. I just love his vocals, and of course you got Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace as well on this album. He Is My Everything. I love that song, He Is My Everything. This is one of my favorite albums. Next one is one of his later albums as well. It's Good Times. This is a really fun album. There are some ballad moments on this album. It's more of a funky rock album, you could say. Take Good Care of Her, Loving Arms, I Got a Feeling in My Body. I got a feeling in my body. If That Isn't Love, She Wears My Ring. His vocals on She Wears My Ring is just fathoms me how low this guy can get. She wears my ring, so damn good, and the way he stretches. Of course you got My Boy. There's so much emotion packed within My Boy. Spanish Eyes. Yeah, this is a great fucking album. Really good album, packing around about 10 songs with a length of 30 minutes, but holy shit, shit. This album packs a punch and I fucking well love it. I just love the pure emotion on this album. Just the energy Elvis has throughout some of these songs. His vocals sound absolutely fantastic on this album. I love the production as well. Next up is a little bit of controversial pick, but a lot of people have this really high. This is very high for me, but I just feel there are other better Elvis albums in my opinion. It's From Elvis to Memphis, really good album. This is a very upbeat album. This is a rock album, you could say, because it's a really guitar driven album with some really nice drumming by Elvis's backup band. Elvis sounds fantastic. I just love his grunty vocals on this album. I'll hold you in my heart till I can hold you in my arms. That beautiful, beautiful melody you're getting throughout that song, and the way he goes, darling, the way he, expresses his vocals. I'm moving on, Empower My Love, Gentle on My Mind, and you got, of course, to end off the album, In the Ghetto. How emotional that song is. Yeah, this album is a pretty solid album. This was released back in 1969. This is when Elvis came back from the movies and into music again, and we finally get a really solid album by this man after he had a few mediocre albums before. The 68 comeback special was one of the biggest comeback specials of all time, and he releases this album. Yeah, Elvis was on top of the world once again. Okay, so next up is Today. This is a really awesome album. This is a rock-driven album, and there's so much fun to be had. Of course, you got Trouble, Trouble, which is a fantastic rocky, bluesy song. Shake a Hand, Pieces of Life, and then you got a really sort of piano ballad, Green Green Grass Home. This is a really fun album. It's one of the strongest Elvis Presley albums in my opinion, and to think this is one of his later albums as well, released in 1975. There's just so much energy from this man. It's hard to believe this is the same man that also released Moody Blue. But yeah, there is just so much energy on this album, and I fucking well love it. I love the instrumentals on this album as well. They packing a punch. The production's fantastic. Yeah, so it's one of my favorites. We're heading towards our top 5 now, our top 5 Elvis Presley albums of all fucking time. Elvis Presley studio albums. Next up is How Great Thou Art. Holy crap. This album is fantastic. It blew me away when I listened to it first time. Absolutely love it. I just love the instrumentals on this. I just love the soft drumming on this album. The emotion, the melody that Elvis provides within his vocals. How Great Thou Art is such an awesome album. Of course, this is a gospel album. You wouldn't think a gospel album would be so high on my list, but it is, just because of his vocals. His vocal performance is one of the best. The instrumentals complement his vocals so damn well. Of course, you got songs like Crying in the Chapel, You Saw Me Crying in the Chapel. Yeah, that song, along with If the Lord Wasn't Walking by My Side. And to end off the album is You'll Never Walk Alone. Yeah, You'll Never Walk Alone. Walk on. And hope in your heart. Yeah, that song's fantastic. Just really enjoy this album. I just love how also this album is soft, but it packs a punch. His vocal delivery is one of the best. So next up is Elvis Is Back. This was released in 1960 after he had an army stint between 1958 to 1960. So Elvis joined the army in those years, and he came back and produced an album which was out of this world back in the day. Fever's amazing, sexy song. Yeah, Elvis made the most sexiest song ever. I just love his vocals on that song, and that amazing bass melody. Boom, boom, boom. So damn good. Got The Girl, My Best Friend, Dirty, Dirty Feeling, Such a Night, It Feels So Right. Yeah, and Reconsider Baby to end off the album. Yeah, this is a really solid, strong album, and I just really enjoy it. This is why it's one of my favorites, and it's an amazing comeback as well. To come back after going to the army and then coming back and to make an album such as this, yeah, fantastic. Alright, so this may piss some of you off, but the next album is Elvis Presley, his debut album. Yeah, this is a fantastic album. Blue Suede Shoes is just kick off the album, which is so damn energetic, so rock hard. I love One Sided Love Affair. Look, I'm gonna list every single Elvis song on this album, and it's just all classics. They are Blue Suede Shoes, I'm Counting on You, I Got a Woman, One-sided love affair, I love you just because, Tutti Frutti, trying to get to you, trying to fucking get to you is absolutely amazing song. I love his vocals on that song. I'm gonna sit right down and cry. I'll Never Let You Go, Blue Moon. Blue Moon is so damn good. I love his vocals on Blue Moon. I just love the percussion on that. I just also love how eerie this song is as well. Like, this is a really eerie song. And then you got Money Honey. Yeah, amazing album by Elvis. Fucking love it. And that's why it's so damn high. Okay, so next up is That's the Way It Is. This is a later album. This is 7 years before he died. And this is one of his best. It really is. Because it just packs a punch, this album. This is a rock album. There's a lot of rock on this album. Awesome moments as well. I love the guitar work on this. And if you got the actual deluxe edition of That's the Way It Is, this album's over 8 hours, got the deluxe edition. Although the original is about 46 minutes, they released the deluxe edition and there's so much happening. But we're not going by the deluxe edition, we're going by the original. And just because it's got probably my favorite song off the album, probably my favorite song of all time by Elvis, which is Just Pretend. Just Pretend is absolutely amazing. It really is. I just love his vocals on this song, the piano melody as well, and just a crescendo build up in the song. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And the production on this album is so damn tight, so damn good as well. This album's really cohesive, and it's also got the song I've Lost You. I've Lost You, again, is one of the greatest Elvis Presley songs, and I just can't help believing as well. 20 Days and 20 Nights, How the Web Was Fucking Woven, and also you got Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Bridge Over Troubled Waters to end off the album. Yeah, this is one of his best albums. This is his second best album in my opinion. I absolutely fucking love it. His vocal performance is so damn good in this as well. Yeah, fantastic. So finally, my favorite Elvis Presley album is Elvis. His sophomore album, I believe. This was also released in 1956. The production is fantastic on this album. Again, I absolutely love all these songs like Rip It Up, World Saturday Night, and I just paid. Rip It Up, I'm gonna rip it up, dude. And Love Me. Love Me is one of the best Elvis songs. Long Tall Sally, Paralyzed, So Glad You're Mine, Old Shep, Ready Teddy, How's the World Treating You? And this is a rock album. This was really heavy back in the day. This is when he was big. This is when he started to become big. I feel like this is an improvement from Elvis Presley, from his debut album, production-wise as well. And the instrumentals were a lot more clearer. His vocals were a lot more clearer as well. I love the overall layers on this album. I just love how upbeat this album is. There is a few slow songs on this album, but there are just so many bangers on this album. There really is. And this is why Elvis is my favorite studio album by Elvis Presley. So guys, next time I will be ranking Elvis's soundtrack albums. Yeah, there are so many good songs on those albums as well. Believe it or not, on Elvis Presley's studio albums, he didn't have Hound Dog. He didn't have King Creole. He didn't have a lot of other classic songs. He didn't even have Heartbreak Hotel on his studio albums. So there are just so much that we have to dig with Elvis. So many other rankings we could possibly do for Elvis, but we've just ranked the studio albums from his worst to the best. And in my opinion, Elvis is the best album. So yeah, comment below if you enjoyed this album ranking. Do you agree or disagree in my opinion? Also sound your comments, also sound your rankings below. What is your favorite Elvis Presley studio album? Do you agree or disagree in my opinion? Keep discussion in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.